All right, and welcome to the hottest show on the planet, I See Gray with Class. I am your host, Aaron Lavender, and unfortunately, my co-host couldn't be here today. Big shout out to Chantel, big shout out to Stefan, big shout out to my brother Bronco Superman McCart. You know, since today is the last day of Black History Month, it got me thinking. I'm thinking about Lewis Lattimore. And the reason why I'm thinking about Lewis Lattimore is because the last 5 days we've been without power. And let me first say, I hope everyone is okay. I hope their family's okay. I hope everyone is safe. I know this was a tough time. I don't know, DTE workers, thank you for the work that you put in around the clock. I know it wasn't easy. I know the customers are frustrated and wanted that power on. So I just want to say thank you to DTE who finally got our power on, and that we're here. We don't realize how much we need it until it's gone, right? You know, and unfortunately, too many of us had to deal without power for, I think it was up to 5 to 6 days, maybe some today even. And there's many people that were in the cold. They lost a lot of food, and my heartfelt condolences to those. I know someone in our community passed away. So I just want to send my heartfelt condolences out to the Jones family. Just know we're thinking about you. And with that being said, I want to thank Impact for giving us this platform to come to you each and every week. This is a very important platform, I believe, for our community. We started this 8 years ago. We are IC Gray with Class standing for Communities Learning About Shared Space. And we started this platform so organizations can come on and talk about what they're doing in the community. And we want to bring a lot of organizations on to say what they're doing, update us on the progress they're making within the community, because this is a message board for the whole community. Like I said before, this isn't just our platform, but it's the community's platform. And I am very thankful that we've been on here for 8 years, and for those that supported us throughout these years. And with us going into Women's Month next month, let me get back to Lewis Lattimore. While I was thinking about the power, you know, and this is just off the top of my head. I was just thinking about this. Lewis Lattimore. Do you guys know who Lewis Lattimore was? No, so I got to give you a little quick history lesson, just off the top of my head from what I know of Lewis Lattimore. Lewis Lattimore did not create the light bulb, but he created something within the light bulb to make it last longer. So the light bulb that we have on that lasts longer, he created something within the light bulb to make it last hours and hours, or whatever, how long the light bulb lasts. Because Edison, when he created the light bulb, it only lasted for a few minutes or so. So he invented something to make it last a long time. This was also a fun fact that Lewis Lattimore actually ran around with Alexander Graham Bell. And some historians believe that he was the one that actually created the telephone. So that's pretty interesting. So go down that rabbit hole, learn more about Lewis Lattimore. I always say Black history is American history. This is our history together. So it's important that we all learn what history is about. Now, the reason why this show is really special, particularly because I have going into Women's History Month, I have some special ladies on today, in honor of Ladies History Month that's starting tomorrow, March 1st. I don't know if you guys saw my video, but it was called Healing Time. If you haven't seen it, go on my social media page on Facebook to look at that. And what I was trying to do was tell the community that right now our temperature is turned on 100. And there is organizations that seem like they're at disagreements or at war or whatnot. And I wanted to get the ladies on. First, let me welcome these ladies. Lisa Graham from CMH, the CEO for CMH. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on. And
thanks for
Kasprzak, CEO of MCOP. Thank you both. You guys are truly inspiration to me. And I see the work that you've done. So I wanted to have you guys on because there's so much that's going on in our community. And I don't want misinformation to keep getting out there. I want us to come to a calm. I want us to come together as a community. I want the community to know that there are things being done. I think it's important to have that message out there. I think it's important that we continue to work towards a common goal to move forward. Those that know me, my family and friends, you guys know me. And I'm trying to bring people together. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to get into any type of wars or bickering or fighting. What upset me was the CMH meeting got canceled, and it made it personal for me because my brother, Stephen P-Stack, who I love dearly, who's a good man, almost got into an altercation there. And, you know, when it involves my brother, now I'm saying this can be very dangerous. So what I want to do is turn the temperature down a little bit, maybe give some understanding to those that don't know what's going on. Even I'm continuing to learn, and I'm part of the community coalition. So I had these ladies on to explain maybe some things that I'm curious about or some things that's put out there, and maybe they can make it clear. So Lisa, I'm going to start with you first. Some of the things that's being reported out there is, and maybe you can, like I said, I want to know just as well as the people out there want to know. Can you talk about the open cases that was at the Oaks that, you know, Pastor was asking for? And that's the elephant in the room. And what I'm saying to you is nobody wanted Oaks to close, right? Everybody wanted us to survive and to be thriving. She's done a lot of work, and the staff has done a lot of work out there for the people. So this is I just want to make that clear. And I don't want to flip. I want to be clear that we're in support of them, that we wanted them to survive. So could you talk about the open cases and what that was about?
I think, Aaron, what you might be talking about is are you asking about talking about the peer support specialist that we put at Oaks and the desire to have somebody who could open a case at Oaks?
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So I want to just echo what you said, Aaron, which is we are so respectful of the work that Pastor Boone has done and all of the various programs that she's brought to the community, and the people that we serve at CMH definitely benefited from the services at Oaks, whether it was the shelter or the food or the clothing, you know, all of those things. And we did not, definitely didn't want to see Oaks close. If I can just go back in history a little bit, when the Oaks first opened, I think it was 2017, something like that, 2016, 2017. My dates are getting fuzzy, but way back when Oaks Village first opened, I went to visit Oaks, and Pastor Boone asked me then if I would, if CMH would be willing to put somebody in the Oaks Village half a day for once a week who could open cases. Okay. And I thought, really great idea. I came back, we talked to my board. We did that right away. We did send our access supervisor down there to the Oaks Village. What we found over 6 months was that she didn't open any cases. She had some contact with a few individuals. Those people were already open to CMH. And so she wasn't opening cases when she was working at the village. Okay. And so agreed then that having that kind of resource not being used was just not the best use of the resources, but certainly anytime that Oaks needed anything, they could give us a call, and we would provide the support. Over the years, we have identified a staff like liaison so that there would be an easy point person, because we recognized, you know, serving a homeless, mentally ill population, not all, but many of the people who were served at Oaks were mentally ill. That's a difficult population to serve. It's a labor of love, what that staff were doing there. And so we did want to try to make things easy. Did we get it right all the time? Of course not. You know, we are humans in a human system, and especially during COVID, you know, the whole world was turned upside down, and but it really was always our intention to be helpful and to be supportive. So recently then we did think, you know, well, what could we do? Having someone there to open cases, that didn't work before, but maybe what we could do is have somebody who's a peer support specialist. And just so people who might not be familiar, a peer support specialist is someone who has lived experience. There's someone who's been, who has a mental illness, maybe who's in recovery from a mental illness, who has had to navigate systems. Maybe they've been homeless in the past. And what the research shows us, this is an evidence-based, you know, it's a best practice. It shows us that people with lived experience They just do a great job at engaging people who might be right on the brink of, I don't know if I want help or not. I don't know if I have a mental illness. Maybe I don't need that. Peer support specialists are like, they're just proven to be the greatest, the perfect resource for helping that population, which is why we were really excited to have a peer embedded at Oaks. It turns out that, Pastor felt that it still wasn't enough. She really wanted someone to be able to open cases. At least that's the communication that I've read. I haven't had a conversation with Pastor Boone. I would like to. But what I've read is that she really wanted someone who could open cases.
Okay.
I have to really talk with her to understand why she feels like that would be important, because that peer, it's true, they can't open a case, but they have a direct line to our access center who can get the case open right away.
So let me stop you right there, because that's important to talk about. So the peer person, let me get this right, because I'm learning as you're speaking. And I want to make sure that the public is educated on how this works. So you have a peer person, well, you had a peer person that was at the Oaks. So if someone needed to open a case up, that peer person could open up the case, and that case could be opened by CMH right then and there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'll stop you. The peer can't open the case,
Okay.
but the peer put the person in a car and drive them over to our building to get the case open, or they can make a phone call and say, hey, I need to get this case open, get me an appointment. We could do virtually. We could do a virtual appointment and open the case that way through telehealth. So the peer cannot open a case. That's true. True. But they are the access point, and they have a direct line to the person who can open the case.
So that takes me to the second point of where I'm hearing, and again, I'm learning. People, be patient with me, because I'm learning just as you're learning. When she's talking about the 4 bus rides or the 4 tickets to CMH, and that is okay. Explain that, if that understanding and how you were dealing with that.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky, and most of us are lucky that we can get in our car and just go where we need to go pretty quickly, right? But what I'm told, what I did hear from Pastor and from Sandy Lipsdorf is that it takes 4 bus transfers to get to our Raisinville building from Oaks. So that that's not an easy thing. I wouldn't want to have to do that. Totally agree with that. Which is why, again, we did provide tablets during the pandemic, because we were doing telehealth. So right now, because of all of the telehealth, nobody has to come into our building to get services. You can get the appointment virtually, and you can get on telehealth if you have that access. A lot of people don't have access to a tablet, but we did put one at Oaks so that people there could have access to their appointments, whether it was with us or a primary care or whoever they needed to have an appointment with. The other thing that we are doing, though, and we've been in the process, and I'm happy to announce it's going to start tomorrow, is we have a location on, I think it's 5th and Monroe Street. I just call it the Benish building.
Yeah.
We
Impact Studio. I call it Impact Studio.
Impact Studio, right.
The building,
there, and we are going to start starting tomorrow. We have an access clinician there. So when someone calls and they say they want an appointment, we can offer them, would you like to do it at our Raisinville building? Would you like to do it at the Benish building or the Impact building? Would you like to do it via telehealth? How would you like to do it, so that we can offer more options? We're also starting to offer bus tokens to people who need help. And when they call and say they want an appointment, we're saying, are you going to have any hard time getting here? Do you have any transportation needs? Can we help you figure out how you're going to get to one of those locations?
Fantastic. That's very insightful. Thank you for that. And Stephanie, with MCOP, if I'm not mistaken, the shelter is closed now, right?
Yes, the shelter is closed.
Okay, so with that being said, how are you dealing with the clients right now that are being turned away from the Oaks now?
So what we did was we opened the Opportunity Center, despite the fact that the power went out on Wednesday night last week. We opened up the Opportunity Center on Thursday, and we triaged all the clients that were coming from Oaks, so they didn't have far to walk. And we got them into hotel stays for a short period of time. So we could get them in a neutral location, and we could assess what their housing needs were. So what we're doing from here, so the first day was really getting them into a hotel, making sure they had a roof over their head. Not everybody went into the hotel. Some people had other arrangements that were made, either friends, family, they had housing, you know, whatever that answer was. But the second day we got everyone food. We fed people when they came to the Opportunity Center. And so on Friday, we sent out food packages that were hotel ready for all of our clients who were in the hotels, and got them set up for the weekend so they would be all set. Community mental health, I have to say, for the small handful of clients who were mental health clients, community mental health checked on clients all weekend long. We've been in regular contact with Lisa and her team for those clients who need it. And then this week we turned our sights to case management to make sure that we're getting them into the housing they need. Some of them may go into other shelters in our community. Some are ready to move into housing, and we'll be able to help them with that. So whatever it is, the transition that they want to make, we're going to help them to do that. And I have to say, Erin, that it's really important for me to mention that the Monroe County Network on Homelessness exists for a reason.
Okay.
HUD about 3 or 4 decades ago got this great idea that communities should come together and collaborate and cooperate with one another to help the homeless in all communities across the United States. And that's where the continuum of care started. And our network on homelessness has been together for many, many years. Probably more than 20 years in Monroe. And we have an amazing group of collaborators and community partners that come together every month to work on this issue to make sure that people are taken care of. Oaks has been a part of that network, as well as all of our wonderful shelters. We have shelters that serve victims of domestic violence, you know, single men. We have a family shelter who's just amazing to work with. We have substance abuse and mental health shelters that are available. So really, people with expertise, they come to the table every month. And, you know, we've been doing this for a long, long time. So this is a transition that was unfortunate. We too were not expecting Oaks to close, but unfortunately we're in that space. But we're going to take care of people as we always have. And at MCOP, getting people into the appropriate housing is very important.
And we're talking about long-term stay at the end of the day, because a shelter is only supposed to be temporary. But we want to make sure that people get long-term stay and affordable housing in the future. You know, I always talk about partnerships and how important partnerships are to this community, and it's great to see these partners come together. You know, as I always say, I believe in the 3 T's and my partnership. I'm actually going to be writing a book on this in the future, so be on the lookout for that book. You know, the 3 T's I'm talking about is trust, transparency, and teamwork. You got to have those 3 elements in order for a partnership to work. And I've been in business for over 20 years, and I've been part of a nonprofit organizations over that same period of time. And I've learned through those experiences that if you don't have trust, you can't have a partnership. And then you can't get to transparency, and you can't get to teamwork. You can't work as a collective group to make sure that you get the task done. So I'm so glad that people are coming together in our community, they gather around, they gather together, they pull their resources together, whether it's knowledge or whether it's monetary resources, to come together in order to move this thing forward to help everyone in the community, because it's going to take all of us. It's not, everything's not built on one organization or 2. It's going to take a collective in order to help the people in this community. And I'm so proud to be a part of this community to see the things that are being done. But with that being said, Lisa, I'm going to ask you about another thing that was brought up, and maybe you could just touch briefly on that I heard Pastor talk about, and I don't know about, and again, I'm learning about the what is it called, team wellness that was brought up. Can you touch on that and what that was about?
Sure, absolutely. So Team Wellness is a provider of behavioral health services. They are contracted in other counties. They don't have any contracts in Monroe yet, but they came to us at CMH and gave our leadership team a presentation back in early January. And they talked to us about the various services that they could provide. A lot of those services were duplicative. They were services that we're already providing, and we really don't need any additional assistance, but one of the services that they did talk to us about was additional crisis services. And CMH is, we have been for the past year really working to build and expand the crisis services that we currently provide. And so they came just to say, hey, these are some services we have if you're interested in contracting out any additional services. So they came to us in January. Unfortunately, our January board meeting was canceled because of that big snow that we had, you remember. And so we haven't had a board meeting yet since we had that team wellness presentation. So I can tell you that we do have internally a number of plans that have been in place to expand and enhance our current crisis services. For example, we were awarded ARPA dollars, and we have we're right now planning our mobile crisis unit that we're going to have up and running in July.
Now that's been, let me stop you there, because that was part of the discussion as well. So that was put in place a while ago, that mobile unit?
Gosh, we applied for that ARPA money. I forget when the original application came out, but that was last year that we applied for it.
Okay.
And we were awarded the ARPA money. And then once we were awarded the money, we started really diving into what's the best type of response vehicle to have, and looking at some other programs and other models to, not have to recreate the wheel, know. And so then we sent an amendment back to the county to say, we think we can do it this way, and it was going to be a little bit less. Mr. Bothonic recently approved that amendment, and we were immediately out there purchasing the vehicle and writing the job descriptions. So we're really right where we wanted to be as far as our strategic plan for that mobile crisis unit.
Fantastic. See, this is why. Go ahead.
Team Wellness, wanted to just say Team Wellness is one of many providers out there. If my board wants to look for a provider to enhance any service that we have, they certainly could direct me to do that. And our policies would be that we would send out requests for proposals. Multiple vendors would then have the opportunity to bid on how they could provide that service for us. And then once we selected someone, there's a credentialing process that has to happen through our PIHP. So it's not just us locally, but we're part of this region, and any provider we wanted to use would have to make sure to get credentialed. So it is a little bit of a longer process. I know that there was some talk that they could be up and running in 30 days. It's really, it does take a little, as with most things in government, it takes a little more time than 30 days. But certainly Team Wellness, if my board decided to do an RFP, they could apply for that, and other vendors could apply as well.
And that's at the direction of your board, right? That's
the direction of the board, correct?
Yeah, there's certain protocols and certain things that you have to go through in order to get said thing, right? You just can't automatically do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to get permission from your board of directors to move forward in what you have to do. And I think that's the reason why we're having this conversation, because I feel it's important that your voices also get heard, what's going on out there. And at the end of the day, it's about helping the people of this community and in our city, right? Regardless of who gives that help, we should all collectively come together and help those that's mostly in need of the help that they're seeking. So that brings me to the next conversation about this community coalition that we're all a part of, because we came together like the Avengers to say, okay, there's an issue that we need to definitely look into more further in order to help the people in our community. As you see in the background, there's a bridge behind me, and it's purposely done because we want to build bridges. That's what we're here to do, is build bridges to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Can you please talk how that coalition got started, Lisa, and where we are right now and the progress we've made so far?
Yeah, we started, CMH kind of initiated the coalition back in late October, November of last year. And it was in response to a lot of the things we were hearing from Pastor Boone and other members of the community saying we have some gaps in services. And so we said, well, let's come together and see what's out there, what currently exists. How can we work together using, like you said earlier, everybody has an area of expertise. So let's make sure that we all work together, within our area of expertise to identify the resources that are out there, identify any gaps, and really work collaboratively and cooperatively to problem solve.
Hmm. And that's what I'm about. We're about solving problems. We have to solve the problems. And the only way to solve the problems is coming to the table and diplomatically talking about the issues that are there and solving that together. And I'm disheartened in how I see some of the people acting and responding, because what's going to happen is someone is definitely going to get hurt. So I'm asking the people out there, I'm asking those out there to step back. Let's take a breath. Let's work together. Let's move this city forward, and let's work together in order to solve this issue, because mental health is an issue that's a global problem, right? We're not just dealing with that here in our city, but they're dealing with it in counties across the country. So let's continue to talk these things out. Let's put on our adult pants and let's sit down and let's talk about what we can do to move this city forward. And let's stop the bickering. Let's put our personal feelings aside right now. I'm not saying that we're all going to sing Kumbaya and come together and be best friends. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because God knows that's not going to happen. But what I am saying is that as in the sake of humanity, in the sake of bringing this city together, in the sake of loving thy neighbor, let's put aside the personal attacks on people, Let's talk about, no, like you said before, Lisa, no one is perfect. We all can't get it right. You know, there may be some fault there, and there may be some things that we can clean up and make better. Like I said, if we know better, we can do better. So let's continue to work towards a common goal in making this a better city for everybody. I'm all in. So like I said, just count me in. Stephanie, is there anything else you would like to say about this?
Well, I do want to mention that part of the community collaborative, we've actually made some good progress. And starting March 1st, we're going to have a referral process that does allow for homeless shelters and community organizations like MCOP to make referrals directly to community mental health. So it's just one way that we can work together to make the processes better for the clients that we serve. And I'm really proud to be a part of that. And I think moving forward, we're just going to keep getting better and improving our community to help those who need it.
What's your thoughts, Lisa?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm glad you brought that up, Stephanie. That universal referral form was really kind of an expansion of another project that we started with law enforcement that's been very successful, where anytime a law enforcement goes on a call, if they think that there's evidence that someone is struggling with a mental health issue of any kind, they will fill out this form and send it through to us, and our peer supports follow up. We followed up on 306 of those referrals last year. And so now we're going to expand that. In the month of March, we're starting 2 new agencies. And then once we're hoping to let MCOP and another shelter kind of help us work out any bugs we might have in that system. But then after we get that, we're going to just keep rolling that out to other agencies across the county. And that'll be one way that we can get aware immediately when someone might be either in a crisis, or maybe hopefully catching them before it becomes a crisis, when signs are just starting to happen, so that we can come in and intervene quickly. And just another way to improve access and those partnerships.
As we continue to close, is there anything else that you would like to say, Lisa, before we close? Because I have some closing remarks myself.
Sure. You know what, Aaron, I would just like to say I'm really looking forward to continuing to move forward and work together with everyone. I have a lot of respect for the work that everybody in this community does. I don't want to be involved in anything that's detrimental to anybody in this community. And I am open to having any conversations with anyone, anytime. I want to support people who are leaders in this community and build them up and work together to solve problems.
You, Stephanie, any last words?
No, I just want to hear what you have to say, Aaron.
All right. On the heels of Women's History Month, you, Pastor Boone, Stephanie, Lisa, and all the women leaders in our community, I am so honored to be in your presence, because to see your leadership and to see what you've done for our city is commendable. And I'm praying and I'm hoping that you important women in our community can come together on Women's History Month in order to make a statement moving forward. Women is really the backbone of this country. You know, when the power outage went out, I had time to spend, even though a lot of times people was, you know, having problems with the power outage, I found some peace in the power outage because I got to spend it with my mother, who's a very strong woman, who was hooked up to an oxygen, and we had some great conversations. So a woman is, I don't know how I can put this. You guys are the heaven and earth. You actually birthed this nation. And I hope and I pray that you guys can come together and resolve any issue that we may have moving forward. And it's an honor to sit around the table and I see a lot of women in leadership roles, because as you know, back in the day, there wasn't that space for women to be in those positions. And you guys have really taken that mantle and you're running with it. And I'm so honored and proud to call you my friends. And I'm so honored to walk beside you. And I just want to see our city do better. So thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you, Pastor Boone, and all those other agencies that are moving forward and making our city a better place. I love you all. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And let's come together and build bridges and not tear them down. And with that being said, I'm going to leave you with love and respect. It's important to have love and respect and unity to inspire change. In order to see clearly, you have to see gray. I see gray. Do you? Peace, one love. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
You're welcome.